By the way, you were just talking with John Tortorella on The Point. He said some stuff this week about McJesus that was rubbed some people the wrong way.
These are some of the things that hold hockey back because we have those conversations in every other sport. And we have to remember inherently, this is a game. It's fun. We can have opinions about it. We can debate and joke and offer commentary. And here we have John Tortorella, who has how much experience and has been around the game. And if we want him to give his opinion, we can all debate his opinion. And it's good for the sport because it creates an ecosystem of conversation. So I think he felt a little sheepish about how much attention it got. But trust me, that's not going to make him shut up his mouth anytime soon.
Hey guys, welcome on into Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks. You guys know whenever I get to talk about hockey, it is a great day in the office, aka my apartment, aka it's been 21 months working from home, but who is counting? Because we get to do awesome things on this platform, like talk with the incredible Emily Kaplan from ESPN. You know her from NHL broadcasts, as well as co-host of In the Crease with Linda Cohn. She's on Around the Horn, The Point, everywhere, and on Twitter, breaking news left, right, and center. We've yet to meet, but now we are meeting. Thank you so much, Emily, for coming on the show, and congratulations for everything you've accomplished and being an absolute gem.
Cheers, Julie.
Cheers.
Honestly, well, firstly, when they asked what I wanted to be drinking, this is literally the water bottle I carry around everywhere. I am a hockey guy, true and true. It's amazing. It doesn't spill. I told you before we get on air, though, we've never met, but I'm just such a huge fangirl of yours, and everything you do, I think, is incredible. And I know that you were in the hockey space and trailblazing before I even was there. So thanks for all that you do, Julie.
Oh, I didn't do anything. I just have a whole bunch of random crazy stuff behind me, and sometimes like to drop the mitts with a bunch of drunk 60-year-old guys on the ice. But, we all do what we can. And you're killing it, though, very quickly in the league. Let's take a little sip of I just want to let everyone know about Canada. It's like,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm a company woman. I gone corporate.
But those are the legit water bottles that, the guys have on the bench. So
It's true. I'm legit like that.
Yeah, well, okay, so let's get right to it. You're on the bench, in a role that is incredible that you're doing, and I love seeing you doing it for many reasons, because you do a great job with it, but also it's a role that's usually been held by, the same guy for, a million years, and on the odd off occasion, a former female hockey player. But it's great to see, a journalist reporter in that role. What has it been like so far for you down there?
Yeah. I have to give so much credit to my bosses because I feel like it has been a different way to cover games and have someone like me down there. And the reason they want me down there is that I've never been at ice level before. So I'll notice things that people may not have noticed or might take for granted. And I'm so not afraid of pointing out the obvious. My favorite story I ever wrote on ESPN was hockey players have big butts and can't find jeans that fit, which, as you know, is a thing, just no one talks about it. So honestly, I was so excited by the opportunity, sideline reporting, something I've always wanted to do. I'm someone who just likes to notice things, take it in, and communicate it with a larger audience. You have a new appreciation for the game down there, the vantage points, the sight lines, how fast and physical it is. Everyone asks if I'm scared of getting hit by a puck. I'm not. I want to get hit by a puck. I think a black eye would give me credibility. I've got a couple guys in the league who have already put some bugs in their ear.
That is wild, Emily. You'd be in facial reconstructive surgery, but it would be worth it.
I know. And all the guys are like, trust me, you don't. I'm like, okay, then just lob it to me at a TV timeout or something.
Yes.
We can fudge this. But honestly, the most fun is just hearing the sounds of the game from that level, especially the chirping. It's just nonstop with some teams. I had Vegas. They are the chattiest team in the league. I was just standing there cracking up the entire time at some of the things they were saying.
I was going to say, because I've seen some of the chirps down there. Yeah, I've heard some of them. Some of them are a little, off color. What has been you mentioned Vegas. What are some chirps? You can say them here. We can leave them out, whatever.
Okay.
It won't get you in trouble. That have been some of your favorite.
So I was sitting right next to Jonathan Marchessault in Vegas, and he was just going nonstop. And he just decided that Curtis McDermott, who played for the Colorado Avalanche, was the worst hockey player he's ever seen in his life. And I think it was because Curtis shot a puck directly into Vegas's bench. So he's just he's terrible. aren't you guys embarrassed to be on the game with him? And then he would like turn to me, he's like, don't you think that guy's terrible? And I'm like, I don't know, Jonathan, like, can't really comment here. My other favorite was Chicago Islanders. I was between the benches, and Kirby Doc on the Blackhawks and Matt Barzal Islanders are two young players, and had a really young chirping sessions. It was like, hey, you're so annoying. No, you're so annoying. No, you look in the mirror. No, you look in the mirror. And then the ref actually came over, because people don't know the refs actually keep their water bottles in my little booth. And he came up to the guys and he's like, it's my water break and I have to spend it tearing you guys apart. You're worse than my kids. And then Brock Nelson's like, well, you don't have to be over there. Go leave. So that was a pretty funny comedy routine.
I feel like they would love to have like an audience, because they're just like performing these. I mean, they're basic, but they make them ridiculous chirps, like as you mentioned with Marchesa, it's like, oh, he's just saying something like, oh, you're a bad hockey player, but they hit it so hard that it becomes like a bit. So that's a lot of fun to be down there.
It honestly is. And like, you realize too, just how many relationships guys have, not just with each other, with the officials and the coaches. And like, sometimes you'll just hear guys talking about golf too. Like, it's, they're waiting to drop the puck. It's a TV timeout. It's like, oh, like, have you golfed anywhere good lately? So it's just fun. All of the different microcosms and conversations that happen in a game. But you were right. Like, hockey players are so funny. And when they can deadpan something and they use their own special language or some words that I'm like, oh, I've never used to apply that word in that context. It's just hilarious.
Well, it's great that you're getting this experience, but also for so many other women that have wanted to hold this role, but haven't been able to, because no one's seen them like that in that role. That's something I always wondered. Oh, when I did soccer, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do that for hockey? And I was like, no, it's always, a former dude player that gets to do that. And it's like, I think your perspective is so interesting in that what you said is that you've never experienced those things before. And so you can like show them, because most people that are watching don't know what it's like down by the benches. So they're going to see this, you're going to see the stuff that people want to know about. So that's a great way that ESPN is making the broadcast even better. It's been a heavy year to start the year off with in the NHL. And I mean, these are stories that have needed to come out, obviously, with Kyle Beach and what's gone on with the Chicago Blackhawks, and a culture change, of course, also with the Ducks with Bob Murray, and a lot of teams kind of being forced to look in the mirror and have to change their ways that, people would always say, oh, that's just the way it's always been done, or it's the old boys club, or all this stuff where it's like, no, it's not okay anymore. For you, what's it been like covering and seeing the culture change happen within hockey?
I see it changing, which is weird. It's just kind of weird to be in the middle of something that you feel like is a transformative. My personal experience is, in some ways, I feel uniquely prepared for this. I went to Penn State University during the Jerry Sandusky sex abuse scandal. And so I saw the way the media covered it. I saw, the way that it unfolded, where the questions that we started asking of who knew what and when, who in positions of power didn't actually fulfill their duties of, coach, manager, boss, president, whatever that is. And so honestly, it's sobering of how many similarities there were with the Chicago sex abuse scandal, as well as Penn State, and the fact that history repeats itself, which is sad. But like I said to begin with, like, things are changing, and, a lot of these allegations that we're talking about are years old. I mean, the Kyle Beach story happened 10 years ago. Bob Murray, when someone called into the NHL tip line, they called with allegations that weren't like yesterday. It's things that have happened cumulatively over the last couple of years. And I think finally the NHL has sent a message to teams that, like, this stuff isn't okay. And why I love hockey is that it's a community, and you're a hockey person and you're part of that community, but it also can be kind of insular. And that means that we sometimes don't see the larger picture. And we don't realize that, just because it's done like this, or just because this GM acts this way, doesn't mean it's appropriate or okay. So I do see a shift in that way. And I think it's only going to make hockey a more inclusive place and a better place and just a safer place for everyone.
Right. That is interesting that you do have that experience and background with Penn State and understanding and seeing the similarities and differences. I know that he is sort of, I guess, one of your partner boss, but NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman under the spotlight a bit more right now with everything that's going on. What kind of pressure do you think Gary Bettman feels, and what do you think is required of him right now that maybe he hasn't come to and talked about recently?
It's a great question. I mean, the pressures that he faces are from his bosses, which are the 32 NHL owners, as well as sponsors. The sense I get, though, is that there's not this groundswelling of owners being like, oh no, like we need someone else in charge, or we're in such a bad place right now and the league's going in a terrible direction. I think generally they're pretty happy with Gary Bettman because in the grand scheme of things, especially outside the pandemic, he's made the money, which is their one big goal. Mm-hmm. You haven't seen sponsors yet totally back out and say, well, I don't know if I really believe in what the NHL is doing. And that's a positive thing. I do think something that he could do a better job of, and I think is just getting a real pulse of what the climate is. Again, not just in hockey, but outside hockey. And perhaps that means listening to more outside voices, because if I think of hockey's biggest flaw, again, it's that insular community that everyone comes up the same way and thinks the same way. And we don't have that many independent thinkers. So I'd love to see Gary, and I know he does this some, but, get some outside perspective for people saying, hey, this is where your league is at. But if you want to be a league that's truly transformative and pushing forward and a league of the future, these are a couple things that you should do.
Right. You should talk to Adam Silver, definitely, on how to look in the outside community to help you become a leader in your league. And one of the things I found, I mean, it's voices like yours that have really helped push the league along, especially when it comes to mental health. When you wrote the article, about the bubble and stuff that guys are dealing with, and you get such great quotes out of these players, and they obviously trust you, and you're very well respected. And these are like, hockey players don't say a lot, right? And they don't, we before me, all that kind of stuff. They never say I, but that you talk to them about what it was like in the bubble mentally, and also then like the stigma of having COVID and being on the COVID list and all that kind of stuff. As we are now opening up again and things are kind of being a bit more normalized, what are the mental health issues you think that players are being faced with today?
What are the mental health issues you're being faced with today? I'm being faced with today. Anyone faced with today? It's like they're not immune to this. I think the issue with hockey players is you hit the nail on the head. They don't use the pronoun I. They say we or you. This has been conditioned since such a young age that you can't be the story, or therefore you can't talk about your problems. And I don't think that's a healthy way to live. I don't think that anyone can grow if they're in that suppressive space. So, what I try to open up to guys is like, you know what, like, it's okay if you want to talk about the fact that you're just feeling kind of blue, or it sucks that you aren't able to hang out with your family as much. And they feel this guilt where they're like, well, people are just going to say you get to play a game for a living and you're making billions of dollars and I shouldn't be complaining. Or maybe my GM will think differently of me, that I'm selfish. And when I try to, tell guys, and I think they're coming around to, is like, I think that just showing that you're human is enough. And I think fans will latch onto that. And I think it'll be really cathartic for you if you can just kind of be open and honest and authentic with your feelings. And so, yeah, the last 2.5 years, however long we've been going through this, honestly, Julie, I don't even know. I probably exaggerated 6 months, but have been taxing on everyone. And hockey players are no different. And some of these protocols, especially when they had to go to the bubble, were super restrictive. And it affects your mental health when you're in that isolation. You can't interact with others. And slowly they're feeling more comfortable talking about it, which is, better just to heal and get better.
Well, I just want to say cheers to you for being that conduit for them to be able to discuss and open up about their feelings. As we know, it's sometimes difficult for a lot of guys to do that. And for you to be able to use your platform to help that is obviously something that transcends the sport and helps them. And I also just want to say how difficult it was for me to open that water bottle right there.
I was going to say, so I would actually have some questions because I fill mine with water typically, but you can hide a lot in this. Like, is yours water?
Mine is water, actually. Yeah. I've been on this show for too long to hide booze. It's I'm allowed to drink whenever I want for work, so.
Fair. I was about to say, if you're wanting to drink booze, you would drink booze.
Yeah, if I want to drink booze, honey, don't worry. I just go to work. Is yours water or?
It is. I'm on ESPN's campus today. I gotta, I'm a cast member today. I just gotta keep it in the fam.
Would that be wild? You're like, just got like vodka in there with torts. By the way, you were just talking with John Tortorella on The Point. He said some stuff this week about McJesus that was rubbed some people the wrong way. how has he responded to how people responded to him saying that Connor McDavid needed to change his game?
Yeah, obviously that was the first thing when I saw him today I wanted to know about. And he says his phone has been blowing up nonstop. He obviously did not know it was going to be that big of a deal. But people are pretty sensitive about it. I mean, that's Canada's golden boy. I think Connor McDavid's representatives were even pretty sensitive about it. To me, these are some of the things that hold hockey back, because we have those conversations in every other sport. And we have to remember inherently, this is a game. It's fun. We can have opinions about it. We can debate and joke and offer commentary. And like, here we have John Tortorella, who has how much experience and has been around the game. And if we want him to give his opinion, we can all debate his opinion. And it's good for the sport because it creates an ecosystem of conversation. So I think he felt a little sheepish about how much attention it got, but trust me, that's not going to make him shut up his mouth anytime soon.
Well, I think, as you said, it's great for the sport because we're talking about it, and it's like it creates emotion around it, but he's objectively wrong, right?
Sure. I personally believe so, but I see where he's coming from, and he did help clarify today where he's saying there's been so many great players who've had to buy into more of a team concept or maybe play a different way because it is the ultimate team sport. And if you think about it, a star player only plays what? A third of a game, half of a game if he's a defenseman. You're so reliant on your teammates. I personally think that Connor McDavid is the greatest hockey player on earth right now, and the rest of the team just needs to catch up with him besides Leon Draisaitl. But, Torts has won Stanley Cups, and I haven't.
What has been your favorite team to cover so far this year?
That's a great question. I haven't had any of their games yet, and I have some coming up, but I love watching the Carolina Hurricanes. I think they are such a fun team. They're total embodiment of their coach, who's literally named Rod the Bod, who does the conditioning workout just for fun in the beginning of the year and still does better than half the team. But they've got the forward depth. They've got some great and elite defensemen. And now they have Freddie Anderson, sweet Freddie Anderson in goal, who's playing up to a Vezina level. So they're one of my favorite teams to watch this year.
Well, just wait to playoffs, honey. Just wait to an elimination game, and then we'll see how Freddie Anderson does. I mean, I've watched it many times.
Still a sweet prince.
He's a great guy. I always hate ragging on him. Okay, give me a bold prediction for the rest of the season.
Honestly, my prediction might be that one of the California teams, the Southern California teams, not the Sharks, makes the playoffs. The Ducks and the Kings both look really good. And I think that Troy Terry will lead All-Americans in goal scoring this year. Hottest take there is.
That is a bold prediction.
He leads them right now. I think Austin Matthews is going to catch up, but he looks pretty good.
Yeah, the Ducks look surprisingly good, considering they didn't really change a whole lot, and they've been through a lot, and I worked with them, and they're a great place. Love them, but it's definitely a surprise.
Well, when you're talking about the mental health impact too, I just want to say, this is a team, like you said, that didn't change anything, kind of sucked last year, didn't really have a direction if they're going to rebuild, and then had this entire scandal where their GM is creating an abusive culture and it comes to light. And that's not easy to come to the rink every day when that's happening. And you feel like, am I allowed to smile? Am I allowed to have fun? Am I allowed to be myself? Or do I have to say the right things? So testament to all of these guys for playing through it and being professionals about it, because I know it's not easy.
And as someone who's been on that plane, and this goes for every NHL plane, if the team loses, you cannot be happy at all. It doesn't matter. I celebrated New Year's on the plane, but after a loss, we didn't even say Happy New Year's because we were just like, the team lost. There's no New Year's. It's just
there was a conspiracy theory last year with something with Keandre Miller and his first goal with the puck. And they're like, well, there's no photo of it. And the teammates were being racist. And it was all about Tony Jalen. I was like, no, the team lost. And he felt sheepish posing for a photo when he lost. And it's really messed up because we should be celebrating this kid, right? A huge career achievement, let him have his day. But that's just hockey culture.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I want to get to this. Who's playing now that would make a good TV personality based on your interactions with guys?
Ooh, great question. Honestly, one of the kids that I've fallen in love with this year, personality-wise, Elvis Merzlikins. He would be like the Roy Kent. You put him on TV and he would just say what he feels. Awesome personality, just incredible, fun, a little out there. I think he plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're one of those teams that's okay, rein it in, be more of a hockey guy. So if he ever could just get out there and speak his opinions, I want Elvis Merzlikins on my Hockey Night in Canada panel.
Okay, so he throws a lot of F-bombs out there sometimes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's my criteria, Julie. It's a tough criteria to.
Yep, Roy Kent. Let's get in there.
Can
okay.
I say that?
And we've talked so much about hockey, but about you, Emily, if you did not work for ESPN and cover hockey and do everything you do right now, what would be something that you would see yourself doing or want to do?
It's such a tough question, Julie, because I was like that total weirdo when I was 6 years old. I was like, I want to be a sports journalist. And then I loved hockey, and this really is my dream job. And I was so singularly focused to get here. I think I'd love to still be in sports. My mom still asks me when I'm going to go to law school, despite, my career doing okay. So I think I might go to law school and maybe try to become a sports agent or work in a front office.
Ooh, that'd be sweet. You're going to be be a commissioner. Let's have you be commissioner of NHL.
Sorry, Gare. I'm coming for you.
What would you change if you were commissioner of the NHL?
I mean, the first thing is the easiest. You get rid of the dress code. You tell teams they can wear whatever they want. Let them flex their personalities. I'd create baseball-style scheduling. I think guys would really like that. I think it would create fun rhythm to the season. I've got a couple other ideas. I might. The goalies would hate me, but I would lessen their equipment and widen the net.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
sorry, Linda.
It seems you've already got 3 ideas in 20 seconds right now. So I feel as though this might be your calling right now.
Imagine if I had 3 years of law school. Just churning and churning.
You don't need law school, man. You can be commissioned today. All right. Well, I want to toast to you, future Commissioner Emily Kaplan. Thank you so much for being on the show here, drinking and binking with our water bottles.
Hi, it's Linda Cohn. I can't believe it. I had drinks with Binks. Coffee, no alcohol, no Kahlua in it.
Subscribe to the Fubo Sports YouTube page for clips and full episodes. Follow us at Fubo Sports on all social media channels. Also available in podcast form wherever you find your favorite pods. It feels great for us to be drinking our water bottles over, virtually 100 years into this pandemic. Hopefully someday we meet. And until then, tell us where we can find you next on all of the various different projects you have.
Yeah, honestly, you can follow me on Twitter at Emily M. Kaplan or Instagram. I've got my podcast with Linda Cohn. It's twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. Super fun platform for both of us just to kind of be our authentic selves.
It's great.
Thank you. I've been having a ton of fun. She's the GOAT. She's so cool. And it's just been a treat to be able to work with her. I'm on The Point sometimes on ESPN 2. And my next game is Blackhawks Blues the day after American Thanksgiving. I had to qualify that for you, Julie.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I really wouldn't have known.
I know there are two.
Thanksgiving happened a long time ago. Yeah. Thank you so much, Emily. Congratulations on everything you've done. Cannot wait to keep watching you between the benches on every platform within the NHL and around the horn where you have to do other sports as well as NHL. Keep killing it. And when you're in New York, we'll go drink some wobbly water bottles. Okay. Until then, guys, make sure that you follow us on our YouTube page for all of our other interviews. We have tons of other hockey personalities, hockey players, and athletes, entertainers, and media personalities, as well as check us out on social, Twitter, and Instagram at Fubo Sports. And until next time, bottoms up, bitches.
Bottoms up, bitches.